change like that anytime soon. I mean, I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business.
All right, so get this. We're going deep on this story about Djimon Hounsou,
Yeah.
you know, the actor, from like Blood Diamond and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's saying he's struggling, like financially struggling.
Really?
Yeah, and the internet is kind of losing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you see and you're like, what, He's got 2 Oscar noms.
Exactly.
And he's in huge movies.
I know. So that's why we're diving into this Reddit thread.
Okay.
That is just dissecting this whole thing.
Gotcha.
The article, the source material, is from The Independent.
Okay.
Where he basically says at 60 years old, he's still struggling to make a living.
Wow.
And that he feels definitely underpaid. We're going past the headlines here.
Right.
What does this tell us about Hollywood?
Yeah.
About money? And maybe our own assumptions.
Totally. I think that the most interesting thing to me is just like how different all the reactions are. On Reddit, you've got people who are just like furious, like how dare you complain, you're rich, you're an actor. And then other people are like, hold on a second.
Right.
Acting's not all, sunshine and roses.
Totally.
And it's become this bigger conversation.
It really has. It's like this Djimon Hounsou thing is like this weird window into success, right?
Yeah.
And how we view the entertainment industry.
Right.
Because on one hand, you have folks, and it makes sense,
Sure.
people who work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Struggling to pay bills.
Totally.
They're like, come on, man. What are you talking about?
Right.
But then you have other folks who are like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Only 4% of actors make a living from acting.
Oh, wow. That's right.
And suddenly it's like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's not as simple as we think it is.
Right.
And that throws people off. Because you think of, actors, movies, it's all glitz and glam.
Of course.
But really it's a business.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
Really tough. And the Reddit thread gets into, they talk about the strikes. The writers and actors strikes, how much competition there is.
Totally.
They even talk about like how race and age play into it.
Of course.
Like who gets cast.
Yeah.
And how much they get paid.
It's true. Like somebody said, it's like, okay, say you're the poorest person in the room.
Right.
But everyone in the room is a multimillionaire CEO.
Yeah.
You're still doing pretty good.
You're doing okay.
But compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, man.
Yeah.
I'm falling behind.
Yeah, you're not doing as well. You're struggling.
Yeah. And that seems to be what this is about.
Right, yeah.
How relative struggling is.
Absolutely. And it makes you think about, is Djimon Hounsou comparing himself to me?
Right.
Or you? Or is he comparing himself to, I don't know, Leo DiCaprio? Yeah.
Or some A-lister who's making $20 million a movie.
Totally.
Because there are levels.
Right.
Even when you're doing well.
And then you get to this other point.
Yeah.
That people brought up on Reddit, which is the whole who factor.
The who factor, yeah.
Like, they recognize him.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't necessarily say he's like a household name.
Oh, interesting.
And that gets this idea of bankability.
Right.
It's not enough to just be talented or even well-known.
Right.
You have to be the guy.
Yes.
Like, they look at you and they say, this guy's going to bring in the audiences.
Yeah.
And that gives you power in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it gives you more money.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's interesting. They were comparing him to Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, yeah.
Who you've seen in a ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Walking Dead, Guardians.
Yeah.
He's great.
But he's never really like the main guy, right? He's always kind of a side character.
Yeah. And it makes you think, even within the small percentage of actors that are doing well, there's levels to this game.
Right.
So is Djimon Hounsou maybe like solidly in the middle somewhere?
Yeah.
He's had a good career.
Yeah.
But maybe he's not top tier.
Maybe not top tier, yeah.
And maybe that's why he's speaking out.
Right. Interesting.
Because he feels undervalued.
Even within the industry itself.
Yeah. And then you get to like the money thing.
Okay.
People bring up that he has this house worth over $2 million.
Okay.
And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If you're struggling.
Why
do you have this?
Why is this? Yeah. Why are you living like this?
Yeah.
It's easy to jump to that.
Yeah.
Like, he's just bad with money.
Totally.
But gotta remember, being an actor it's not a normal job.
No.
Like, you don't know when your next paycheck's coming. Right. It could be amazing.
Yeah.
Could be nothing.
Yeah.
Plus, There's that whole thing. You got to look a certain way.
Oh, especially in Hollywood.
Especially in Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to keep up appearances.
Right.
Easy to fall into that trap.
Totally, totally. And then speaking of how to make money,
Okay.
there's a whole discussion on this Reddit thread
Yeah.
about how actors make extra cash,
Uh-huh.
like Comic-Cons,
Oh, we're right, yeah.
voice acting,
Yeah.
even like those personalized messages.
Yeah.
Like you pay them, they say your name.
Oh, like cameo, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
And those can be lucrative,
Right.
but it's not easy.
Right, I bet.
Like you got to have a following.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to do it.
Right.
And somebody said that Hounsou charges like $100,000
Oh, wow.
per appearance
Wow. That's a lot.
at a convention. So I don't know if that's true or not,
Right.
but it shows you how some actors are trying to like make money off their fame.
Yeah. That's interesting. It really highlights the whole business side of it.
It really does.
You know, it's not just being an artist anymore.
Right.
You're a brand.
Yeah.
You gotta hustle.
Totally.
Especially now.
Okay, hold on. Let's pause for a second.
Okay, yeah.
We've covered a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Djimon Hounsou's original thing,
Uh-huh.
Reddit going crazy,
Yeah.
and kind of like what it's like to be an actor.
Realities, yeah.
What stands out to you?
I mean, to me, what's really interesting is how this is making us rethink things.
Okay.
You know, like our ideas about like wealth,
Yeah.
success. We think, oh, you're an actor, you're rich, you're famous.
Right.
But it's way more complicated
Yeah.
than that. Like, you can be successful and still have money problems.
Right. It's not just the money though, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. It's sparked this conversation
Yeah.
about like how we see actors
Uh-huh.
and the value of their work.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, they're people
Right.
with real lives,
Yeah.
real expenses,
Yeah.
real struggles, like everyone else.
It's so easy, I think, to just see the image.
Yeah.
You know, red carpets,
The glamour.
awards shows,
Yeah.
and you forget that like there's stuff going on behind the scenes.
Totally. And I think that's what this Djimon Hounsou thing is doing.
Yeah.
Kind of forcing us to think about that.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. Even the people who seem to have it all
Right.
might be struggling.
Yeah. And a lot of the comments are saying that. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, we're all struggling
Yeah.
in some way.
In some way, yeah. Doesn't matter how much money you make.
Right. And it makes you think about comparison
Oh, totally.
is a dangerous game.
Yeah, you see all this stuff, like on social media.
All the time. Magazines, movies. It's like, oh, everyone's rich.
Right.
Everyone's successful.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah, it messes with your head.
Totally. And this is where I think like financial literacy comes in.
Yeah, for sure.
Which people were talking about on Reddit.
Uh-huh.
Because some people were saying, oh, it's Djimon Hounsou's fault.
Right, like he made bad decisions.
Yeah. But then other people were like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
It's not always that simple.
Right. You know, the thing about acting, the money's not consistent.
Right.
You know, you could be making a ton one year,
Yeah.
nothing the next.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And it's like when you do get that big paycheck,
Yeah.
it's tempting.
Yeah. Live it up a little bit.
Yeah. And everyone around you is doing it.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah. And there's that pressure too, right? You
yeah.
got to keep up a certain image
Yeah.
that can get you in trouble.
Totally. And somebody brought up that his girlfriend is supposedly worth like $200 million.
Wow. Okay.
So maybe that's part of it.
Oh, interesting. Like he's trying to keep up with her.
Yeah. Now we don't know that for sure,
Right.
but it's interesting.
It is interesting. Makes you think money's not everything.
Right.
It's how you manage it,
Yeah.
the choices you make.
Yeah.
All that.
Right. And this is where it gets even deeper
Okay.
because people on Reddit started talking about like systemic issues.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Like what?
Like, okay, how much an actor makes,
Yeah.
their career. It's not always just about talent,
Right.
like race,
Uh-huh.
gender,
Yeah.
even their age
Age. Yeah.
can play a role.
That makes sense. Yeah. People were saying that.
Yeah, they even they were quoting Hounsou
Uh-huh.
from other interviews he's done
Okay.
where he talks about being stereotyped
Right.
and like not getting the roles that he wants.
Yeah, like he's being limited.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So even though like acting's supposed to be about,
Yeah.
creativity.
Talent.
Yeah, talent.
There's still these biases
Yeah.
and prejudices.
Yeah. And those biases, like, they can actually hurt you financially.
Totally.
You know, fewer opportunities,
Yeah.
less money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild. And it makes you realize this isn't just about Djimon Hounsou.
Right.
It's a bigger thing.
Yeah. It's about Hollywood as a whole.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's not just Hollywood, right?
Oh,
This kind of stuff happens everywhere.
Totally. Totally. It makes you think, okay, what's our role in all this?
Yeah.
Like as fans, as consumers,
Right.
do we have a
To
responsibility?
do something. Yeah.
Yeah, to be aware of these issues,
Yeah.
to maybe like support actors who are speaking out.
It's a good question. Like, what can we actually do?
Right.
I mean, maybe supporting, like, films
Yeah.
and projects that are, you know,
More diverse.
yeah, more diverse, more inclusive.
Yeah.
Maybe following actors on social media
Yeah.
who are, like, using their voice
Right, right.
to talk about these things.
Yeah. It's about the choices that we make,
Yeah.
you know, and what it says
Totally.
about what we value.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember
Yeah.
the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
it's a reflection of us,
Totally.
you know, of society.
Totally.
So if we want to see it change,
Uh-huh.
we got to change.
I love that. Yeah.
It's not just pointing fingers.
Right.
It's looking in the mirror.
Totally. Totally. Okay, I think we've gone pretty deep on this Reddit thread.
Yeah.
We've looked at, you know, what it's like to be an actor.
Yeah.
And some bigger societal things too.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to start wrapping this up.
Okay.
What are your final thoughts?
I mean, for me, this whole Djimon Hounsou thing,
Yeah.
it's a really good reminder
Okay.
that success it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just money. It's not just fame.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, like, are you happy?
Yeah.
Do you feel good about what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are you making a difference?
Right. And sometimes it's about like being brave enough to say what you really think.
Totally. Even if people disagree.
Right.
I mean, good for him, you know, for talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, it gets people talking.
It does, yeah. It makes us think.
Right. Like, are we looking at things the right way?
Yeah. Going back to those Reddit comments,
Uh-huh.
I keep thinking about that whole financial literacy thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
Gotta be smart with your money.
Totally. Like everyone was saying that.
Yeah.
Even the people who were like criticizing him.
Right. It's an important lesson.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially with acting, it's got to be hard.
Yeah. The money comes and goes,
Right.
like you said. So, yeah, got a plan.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to be reminded of that.
It is.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, like, the most fun thing to think about.
Right. You know, I also keep thinking about like how people reacted to this.
Yeah.
Like it was all over the place.
It was. People were angry,
Uh-huh.
confused.
Yeah.
Some people felt bad for him.
Right.
It really got to people.
It did. It's interesting, right? How a story like this
Yeah.
can like bring up all these different emotions.
It is. I think it shows, like, how much we connect to personal stories.
Totally.
Like, even if we aren't actors,
Right.
we can all relate to, like, struggling,
Wow.
feeling like you're not appreciated.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that actors are like real people.
They are, with real problems.
Yeah.
Even if they are rich and famous.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think maybe what we can learn from this is to be nicer.
Yeah. Be kind.
Yeah, yeah. To each other.
Yeah. You don't know what someone's going through.
Right, right. Like just because someone looks successful
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean they have it all figured out.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
We're all just, like, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for our deep dive.
Yeah. We went deep on this one.
We did Djimon Hounsou,
Uh-huh.
Reddit,
Hollywood,
money.
all of it.
Yeah, a lot to think about.
A lot to think about. Good stuff.
Before we go, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
What does this whole thing say about Hollywood
Yeah.
and how it's changing? Like, what do we value
Mm-hmm.
and how do we support the people who make movies and shows?
Right. Like, how do we make sure they're doing okay?
Yeah, yeah. It's something to think about.
It is. It really is.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.